Hey, are you feeling healthy?
I
was about to say, I actually a loaded question because right now I don't think you're like right at 100%.
I honestly don't ever feel 100% healthy, but I mean, I just went to the doctor yesterday and got 2 steroid shots. So honestly, I'm buzzing right now.
Maybe part of the reason you don't feel healthy, Robbie Crawford, is that for breakfast every day you drink a Diet Coke and eat a pack of crackers.
My breakfast is 2 packs of crackers,
a
Slim Jim, and a Diet Coke.
And if you never knew Robbie until this moment and you didn't know what he did with himself, would you be surprised based on that diet that he has been in youth ministry for many years?
It's so efficient. Like you can
certainly
eat
don't have to cook
anywhere.
anything.
You like, oh, you're going for a retreat? Okay, cool. I just buy a bag of box of crackers and Slim Jims and a 6-pack of Diet Coke, and I didn't have to worry about breakfast.
You're also a young man, and for the older guys, representing the older guys, we have to think a little bit more about the health.
That's true.
We hit our mid-40s. So
I do drink a lot of water these days.
You do drink a lot more water than you used
to.
So one thing we're talking about today, it's not Robbie's health or my health, but
it is the health of youth ministry.
The health of your youth ministry, right? We want your youth ministry to be healthy.
We do.
Yeah.
We never want to see people fail, but we think there are signs of unhealth, right? Like you can tell as a person when you are not being healthy. You start to feel bad, you have exhaustion, like fatigue, all that. But how do you identify those signs of your youth ministry? Because we've looked at, you probably from a distance can look at other youth ministries and go, I think something's not right there.
That's right.
And it's really easy to identify it on everyone else. But here are 3 things that we think are signs of an unhealthy youth ministry and something for you to look at within your own youth ministry. And the first is exclusive clicks.
We're not talking about web traffic.
No, we're not talking about that SEO stuff. We're talking about clicks within your youth ministry. And I'm going to go ahead and say something controversial here because I get to do that as the young guy here in the organization. And I let them deal with it. So I actually am okay with clicks.
The funny thing is, I agree with you. I'm the old guy in the organization, and we've been both doing youth ministry a long time. Yeah. I'm okay with, because I think people are drawn to people who are similar to them. And as long as there's a healthy boundary, I'm okay with affinity groups. Can we call them that?
Yeah. So like I want the girls that play volleyball to walk in and be able to hang out with their volleyball friends. Right. What I don't want is for them to just stay in that group.
That's right.
And so exclusive clicks, here's what I mean by this. Think about your youth ministry space on a midweek gathering. Or if you're not having them, think about when you did have them.
That's right.
Think about this awkward no man's land that exists in the middle of your youth ministry room because there's cliques gathered all around the wall. And so you can see those people that are your click breakers that kind of just like bebop between the groups and they kind of float everywhere. That's healthy. That's fantastic for those floaters. But if you never have anyone moving between those groups, it's very, very bad for your youth ministry because it says, if you're not part of our cliques, you're just not welcome here. And when a new person shows up or a new person walks into the room, they're going to be stuck in that no man's land wondering, where am I supposed to go? I don't belong in any of these places. And questions to ask if you do have these exclusive groups. What happens for instance, Annie, your oldest daughter plays volleyball, right?
Yep.
And so let's say she's hanging out with her volleyball group and she shows up for church one night and all of them have a game and she didn't have a game that week. She's probably texting dad saying, hey, no one's here this week.
None of my friends are here this week.
Can I leave?
Yeah.
And why? Because that click isn't there. So now, what is she supposed to do?
I like that distinction, exclusive clicks, right? I mean, that's what you're saying, and I think that's a really important distinction because those are the kind of the cliques that are kind of a closed group.
Absolutely.
You and I have served together in the same ministry. You were on staff. I was a volunteer for several years, and I remember there was a person on staff, and she said something to me one time that made a huge impact. We were talking about, it's what you were talking about, the room, right? She said, always think about the first 3 steps a person takes into your room, what's happening. And she was saying it as a critique because she noticed about our group, and this was something we didn't notice about ourselves, our class would sometimes walk in the door and stop. And we would stand with our backs to the door talking to each other in our little groups. Yeah. And she said, I walked in your class and nobody turned around. The door was kind of closed off. They didn't even notice I walked in. And that was the first moment that I thought, man, we do have we're probably borderline exclusive, right? Not because we're mean people, but because we like each other, we know each other. But
you're excited to see your friends.
That's right. But you have to be aware of, how you're creating spaces for people to watch. So I think it's a really insightful.
Absolutely.
One thing you pointed out, I think it's a really great point. And another way that we can think about ministries are unhealthy is if we look around week after week, we don't see new faces, right?
It's true.
We all know that discipleship's important. We need to take care of the kids we have.
Yes.
We know that, right?
Yes.
I mean, pour into them, make sure that they have a good plan and a good track for growth, and we're supporting their parents. We got great volunteers. But if we're not looking, if we're not constantly, constantly maybe overreach, but routinely seeing new faces into our youth ministry, that may be a sign of unhealth. What does that tell us? It tells us that on some level, at least a specific maybe type of student or kind of student, or for whatever reason, doesn't feel comfortable walking in our doors.
Yeah.
And that may be because it's exclusive cliques. Maybe it's something we're doing. I mean, maybe we don't realize that we're projecting maybe a certain unwelcome attitude, or we haven't thought about our spaces or haven't thought about our outreach.
Yeah, only certain students are welcome here, or we are a church that only reaches out to students from this school or this community.
And I think a lot of those can be inadvertent. I mean, I'll give youth pastors the benefit of the doubt, and I'm thinking back early on in my youth ministry, I was probably guilty of that, and I don't think I did it on purpose. It was just I had this group of kids coming, and they continued to attract kids like them. And I just wasn't intentional about going, well, this doesn't represent the whole of the kids in our community.
Absolutely.
And so I think new faces, we just have to make sure, and again, we could go forever about different strategies to get new people in outreach, but we've got to make sure that we are seeing new faces in our youth ministry.
We want to see youth ministries grow, and it's so important. I think the final thing of an unhealthy ministry is a lack of vision.
Yeah.
Now, if you've been following along in our articles this year and this fall, we've talked a lot about vision, and I think it's because it's something that's really important for us right now as an organization, as we, like many of you, have struggled in 2020 trying to see what's the vision of the future.
That's right.
And so when it comes to our student ministries, ask yourself this question: what do I want my students to know after they've gone through my ministry?
That's a good one.
Do you have an answer to that question? Because I know many youth pastors, they think about they're going to do this series and this series this series, and we're going to use this curriculum, and it's going to be all that. But if you look at a student's holistic 6-year experience, what have they learned?
What path are they on?
Like what have they actually accomplished? This student graduated from your ministry. They went out to college, and that college pastor's going, I love when students from that church show up because they're equipped for this and this and this. And for a lot of youth ministries, that vision doesn't exist because we're just so focused on getting through the next series or the next day. And I promise you that your students are going to start to feel that disconnect. And so they're going to see that next series and go, well, that one doesn't connect with me, so I'm out.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you can connect them to the larger vision of your student ministry, it's going to grab them. It's going to bring them into part of the process, and they're going to want to be there. Your leaders are going to want to be there, and parents are going to want to get their students involved in that because they see where you're going. Lay out a dream that is so big, a vision that is so big that if God doesn't step in to help you with it, it's not going to work.
Oh, that's good, dude. That's good.
So we think there are obviously other signs of unhealthy ministry, but I think these are 3 pretty common ones that we see across the country as we work with youth ministers all around the world. And that's what we're here for. We're here to work with you as you do the hero's job of serving the next generation. Right. We know that youth ministers wear many hats, and so our job here at Y360 is to provide quality resources and life-changing events so that you can do what truly matters, and that is leading students to a life-changing relationship with Christ. So, if there's ever anything we can do, or you're looking at this list and you're like, oh no.
That's right. I'm 2 out of 3.
I got 2 out of 3. I'm all 3. Like, it's not too late.
That's right.
Let's chat. Right. Let's come in. If you're like, I don't know how to start changing that direction, reach out. Robbie at Y360, Andy at Y360.
That's right.
We would
love to chat with you.
Happy to talk with you and kind of walk you through that next step so that you can have a healthy student ministry.
There you go, man. Well done.
Thanks.
Hey, we appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming. We'll talk to y'all next time.
See ya.